Hi. I'd like to talk about something that I like to think about a lot, and I think it's important. It's about life's purpose. So, what is our life's purpose? How important is having a life's purpose? So, if we don't have a life's purpose, or a purpose, or some meaning, or even something so simple as a project to work on, sometimes we can feel a little bit unmoored, and and that kind of leads to like a dissatisfaction and unhappiness. Just kind of like maybe a malaise, maybe not an outright full-on depression, but maybe just a feeling of like, nothing's great. A lot of times in our society, we sort of feel like we find that meaning through like consumerism, or and consumerism can even be, so it could be like buying something, obviously new piece of clothing or a new car or something like that. And that's important, to take care of ourselves and make sure our needs are met. But it can also be like seeking something interesting, like a great meal or a really wonderful play, or seeing your favorite band or whatever it is. And that's also important, like that gives us some sort of joy in our life. But after all that's taken care of, or all that's done, we kind of need something to like feel purposeful about. So oftentimes our purposefulness, if that's a word, comes from necessity. So we have family members we need to take care of, and so we're motivated to go to work, even if it's not a job that we particularly care for. And we go and we do that so that we can take care of our families. So that's a purpose. Something's happening and it's making us do that. And so, but once that stuff is taken care of, like maybe there's no urgency, or we're solo, we're not part of a bigger family unit. What is it that brings about a sense of purpose for us? And sometimes we can think about that in terms of our interests. So like I mentioned, bands, so like maybe you're musically inclined in some way, and so seeing your favorite band is very important to you. Learning maybe a new piece of music is a sense of purpose. So it can come from some special talent or interest we have. It can also come from like spiritual. I'm not going to be able to say that word, am I? Spirituality, whatever, some spiritual thing, which could be like an organized religion, or it could be your own thing, or some values or beliefs you have. So, and in that case, you might, like maybe you come from a religious tradition, and that says that you should help others, and so that could be sort of the meaning part of your life. And the key thing is, I think, to get the most satisfaction from it is not to do it as an obligation, like, oh, I have to go and work at the food pantry. But then if you go to the food pantry, maybe you find it really dissatisfying. Maybe it's too hard work for you and you feel tired, or it's too crowded and it makes you anxious, or people there are a little snippy and you don't feel welcome. So I would say, in that case, I would put that aside and find something else that would sort of fulfill your spiritual need of helping others. That's just an example. So think about like what's important to you, what your interests are, what you're good at, what your values are. And then there's a couple ways to think about this to kind of maybe get more specific or get some ideas going for you. One way is to sort of think about or journal about, if I were on my deathbed, what would I regret? Or what would I regret? What would I have wished I had done? Like, would I have traveled more? Would I had been more generous, or whatever it is? And so that can kind of be one way to figure out to find some sort of purpose. And another way would be to imagine what would happen if you won a bazillion dollars, not just $1 million. We need more than that these days. So if you won the lottery and won a big pile of cash, after you bought a big house and a cottage and a big car and traveled and went to every fancy hotel, after you did all of that kind of big stuff, you'd still have to do something with your time, right? Like, are you going to just sit around and watch TV when you're not eating at the fancy restaurant or shopping? What are you going to do? And this is true, not just, this is particularly true of people who retire. So apparently after the first year, you do all those things, right? Like, you spend more time with your friends and family, and you go here and you go there. But then at some point that stops being so interesting. So you have to start to reflect on how am I going to fill my time, right? So imagine you're rich. What would you do with your time? And remember, all your resources are infinite, right? So like, you got a lot of resources. So let's say you wanted to make a music video. Maybe that would be your thing, and then think about what part of that music video what role you'd like in that video. Or think about, I would like to write a book. Well, what would you like to write a book about? Why would you like to write a book? So start to think about, like, if I was rich and I didn't have to work and I didn't have to, how would I spend my time? Above and beyond just entertainment. And that will start to give you sort of a glimmer into what's important to you. What do you find enjoyable? So, like, to go back to the example of, I'd make a music video. What part would you play in that music video? Would you be the star, the singer? Is your dream to really start a band? Or would you be more on the music mixing side? Would you like the organizational aspect of bringing everybody together? What part of making a music video sort of entices you? And then when you figure out what that is, because think about the whole production of it, there's the camera people, and there's the this people, and there's the design of it, and there's the creation of the idea, and all of these things. You have to sort of think about the logistics of it, and then really think about, what is it about that particular task that attracts you, and then how can I get more of that in my current life? Like, how can I create sort of a purpose for myself? So let's say, really at the end of the day, I want to be the star of this music video. That's my whole MO. My whole motivation for creating a music video is, I want to be the star. I want to be the singer, and I want to sing my own song, my own original music. So if that's the case, well, what can I do now, and how can I create that as a little bit of a life's purpose to start that going? So anyway, so this is just a way to, like, start to think, have you start to create a purpose for your life. After, there's different periods of time in our life, like when we have more and less time. So if you're in a time, actually, what I was gonna say is, like, if you're in a time now where you're really busy, maybe you can't. But that's not true. You could have, like, some other purpose besides taking care of your family or taking care of whatever, working and paying your bills. You can get a shockingly amount done in a very short period of time. So if you, and I'm going to just use this very mundane example. If your goal is just to read more books, if you were just to, and we also, I don't have time to read, I don't read, I got this stack of books I never read. If you were just to read 10 pages a day, you'd read a whole book in a month. That doesn't sound like much, but it's more than you're doing now. So, like, the idea is to, like, start to really think about what's important to us, what do we want to accomplish, what are our values, what are we good at, what talents do we want to use, what do we enjoy doing, and then thinking about it with those two exercises. How would I feel at the end of my life? What would I regret? And if I was rich, what would I do? So those are just a couple ways to sort of start to think about creating a life's purpose. And so really, it's important for us to have a life's purpose so that we don't end up whiling away all of our time watching videos or movies or TV or social media or whatever it is. And then, I don't know about you, maybe this is just me, but at the end of the day, kind of feeling crappy about yourself. So anyway, go out there and give it a little thought. See if you can come up with your life's purpose. Absolutely feel free to post that in the comments below. I'd love to read what you have discovered with your life's purpose. Anyway, be well, and I'll see you next time.